If you are over 55 and find yourself waking up at 2 a.m. or 3 a.m. every night, tossing and turning until the morning, this might shock you. The very thing you drink before bed, plain water, could actually be part of the problem. But there's a simple, natural alternative that can calm your body, balance your hormones, and help you sleep deeply through the night without side effects. Stay with me, because by the end of this talk, you'll know exactly what to drink instead of water, and why it could transform not just your sleep, but also your brain, your heart, and your energy levels. Sleep is not a luxury. It's the foundation of longevity, memory, healing, and energy. Yet many seniors struggle to sleep through the night. What happens? They wake up in the middle of the night to use the bathroom, or they lie awake with racing thoughts, or they simply cannot drift back into restful sleep. And over time, poor sleep begins to rob them of vitality. Science shows that even a few nights of broken sleep increases inflammation, raises blood pressure, disrupts blood sugar, and accelerates cognitive decline. But here's the exciting part. What you drink before bed can dramatically influence how well you sleep. Most people sip water before sleep, thinking it's harmless. Yet for many seniors, that habit actually fuels restless nights. Instead, a simple nutrient-rich bedtime drink can calm the nervous system, reduce nighttime bathroom trips, and allow the body to stay in deep, restorative sleep cycles. What is that drink? I'll share it with you as we go through the 6 key points you need to know. As people get older, one of the most frustrating problems they encounter is waking up in the middle of the night, often at the exact same hours, 1 a.m., 2 a.m., or sometimes closer to dawn, and finding it nearly impossible to fall back asleep. This condition, known as sleep fragmentation, is especially common among seniors, and one of the biggest underlying reasons is nocturia, which is the medical term for frequent urination during the night. While many dismiss this as just an inevitable part of aging, science tells us a different story. The body is carefully designed to regulate fluid balance, and under normal circumstances, we produce a hormone called vasopressin that signals the kidneys to conserve water during the night. This helps us sleep longer without needing to wake up and empty the bladder. However, as we age, vasopressin levels decline, and without that hormone, the kidneys keep filtering water at the same rate as during the day. That means more fluid reaches the bladder, and it becomes full enough to trigger a bathroom visit, which immediately breaks the natural sleep rhythm. Add to this the habit many seniors have of drinking plain water right before bed, and you've created the perfect recipe for repeated awakenings. The connection between late-night water consumption and disrupted sleep is not always obvious to the individual experiencing it. Someone might say, "But isn't water healthy? Aren't we told to drink more water for better health?" And the answer is yes, water is essential. But timing matters greatly. Drinking a full glass of plain water just before lying down does not give the body enough time to process and absorb it before sleep. Instead, it accumulates in the bladder, and because older adults have less bladder elasticity and reduced vasopressin levels, they are far more likely to wake up needing the bathroom. Imagine this scenario. A 70-year-old man who loves staying hydrated fills his glass before bed, drinks it down, and feels good about his routine. 2 hours later, he wakes up urgently needing to go. Once he's back in bed, his mind starts racing. He tosses and turns, and eventually, when he falls back asleep, it's already nearing dawn. By the next day, he feels sluggish, his memory feels foggy, and his body aches more than usual. Multiply this routine by months and years, and the damage to overall health and quality of life becomes significant. It's not just about bladder function. The act of waking up repeatedly disrupts the most critical stages of sleep. The body cycles through phases including light sleep, deep sleep, and REM sleep, where memory consolidation and brain repair occur. Seniors often spend less time in deep sleep already due to age-related changes in the brain. If those precious minutes are stolen by nocturia triggered from drinking too much water at night, the brain is deprived of its most restorative processes. This explains why many seniors complain of mental fatigue, lack of focus, or even mood changes when they are chronically sleep deprived. In fact, researchers have shown that even a single week of interrupted sleep can mimic symptoms of mild cognitive impairment, and in seniors already at risk for dementia, this becomes an even greater concern. Another factor that worsens nighttime awakenings in seniors is the reduced ability of the bladder muscles to hold urine. With age, the detrusor muscle that controls bladder contractions becomes more sensitive, meaning it sends signals to the brain earlier than necessary. A bladder that might only be half full can still wake someone up, and this, combined with nighttime water intake, results in even more unnecessary awakenings. The brain does not distinguish between an urgent need to urinate and a mild signal. It only reacts by waking you up. Once awakened, falling back asleep becomes more difficult because of changes in melatonin cycles with age. This creates a vicious cycle where the body loses both rest and repair. To understand how serious this is, picture an elderly woman who has always valued her independence. She drinks 2 cups of water before bed, thinking it's good for her skin and digestion. But now, she wakes up 3 or 4 times every night, walking back and forth to the bathroom. Besides the toll on her sleep, this increases her risk of nighttime falls, a major cause of injury in seniors. Even if she avoids falling, her mornings begin with exhaustion, and over time her immune system weakens, her blood pressure rises, and she finds herself relying on naps during the day. This one simple habit, bedtime water drinking, has created a cascade of health issues that extend far beyond the bladder. And yet, this is completely preventable with the right adjustments. When we look deeper into the science, the body gives us clear evidence. Clinical studies show that seniors who reduce evening fluid intake, especially plain water, experience fewer nighttime awakenings and better sleep quality. But what's even more powerful is when they replace that water with a carefully chosen alternative drink, one that doesn't overload the bladder, but instead provides calming nutrients that support the nervous system. For instance, a magnesium-enriched warm drink allows the kidneys to manage hydration more gently, so the bladder doesn't trigger those urgent signals during the night. This is not just about avoiding discomfort. It's about restoring the natural cycles of deep sleep that fuel longevity, protect the brain, and strengthen the heart. One of the most overlooked consequences of poor sleep, especially in seniors, is the way it disrupts metabolism. Sleep is not just about closing your eyes and resting. It is a highly orchestrated process that regulates hormones, blood sugar, appetite, and energy production. When the sleep cycle is fragmented, as it often is with seniors waking up multiple times at night, the body loses its ability to maintain balance. Research shows that even a single night of interrupted sleep can lead to spikes in cortisol, the stress hormone, and interfere with insulin sensitivity. For older adults, this is particularly concerning because many are already at higher risk for conditions like type 2 diabetes, hypertension, and cardiovascular disease. The connection between sleep and metabolism is so tightly woven that some scientists now refer to sleep as a metabolic reset button. Without pressing that button through continuous restorative rest, the body enters a state of imbalance that accelerates aging and chronic disease. Let's consider how blood sugar is affected. During deep sleep, the body becomes more efficient at regulating glucose, keeping levels stable so that energy is available without sharp rises or crashes. But when sleep is cut short or interrupted, insulin, the hormone that helps move sugar out of the blood and into cells, doesn't work as effectively. This is known as insulin resistance. Seniors who experience poor sleep often report feeling hungrier the next day, craving sweets or processed foods, and having less energy to stay active. This isn't a lack of willpower, it is the body's hormonal response to disrupted sleep. Leptin, the hormone that signals fullness, decreases, while ghrelin, the hormone that stimulates hunger, increases. Over time, this imbalance can lead to weight gain, especially around the midsection, which further worsens sleep by increasing the risk of sleep apnea and snoring. What begins as a problem with nighttime awakenings soon spirals into a larger cycle of metabolic dysfunction. This is where the type of evening drink makes a profound difference. Plain water hydrates but offers nothing in terms of metabolic support. In contrast, specific nutrient-rich drinks can enhance both sleep quality and overnight metabolic regulation. Take tart cherry juice, for example. Not only does it contain natural melatonin to help with sleep, but it also has compounds that improve glucose metabolism. In one study, older adults who drank tart cherry juice before bed not only slept longer, but also showed better fasting glucose levels in the morning. This means their bodies were better able to manage sugar overnight, preventing those metabolic crashes that contribute to fatigue. Imagine a senior who struggles to sleep and has borderline diabetes. By replacing bedtime water with a small glass of tart cherry juice, they not only reduce nighttime awakenings, but also improve the way their body handles blood sugar while they rest. This simple shift has ripple effects that go far beyond sleep alone. Another powerful example is warm golden milk, a traditional drink made with milk, turmeric, and sometimes a dash of cinnamon. Milk itself contains tryptophan, an amino acid that helps the brain produce serotonin, which then converts into melatonin to regulate sleep cycles. Turmeric adds curcumin, a compound with strong anti-inflammatory properties that counteract the low-grade inflammation linked to aging, obesity, and poor metabolic health. Cinnamon, when added, helps regulate blood sugar by slowing the rate at which glucose enters the bloodstream. For seniors, sipping golden milk at night is not only soothing, it becomes a functional tool for improving both sleep and metabolism. Instead of waking up groggy and craving unhealthy foods, they wake up refreshed with more balanced energy. It's important to highlight that metabolism is not just about sugar and weight, it's also about how well cells repair themselves. During deep sleep, growth hormone surges, helping tissues recover and muscles rebuild. Seniors often complain about slow healing, whether from minor cuts, exercise soreness, or illness. In many cases, this is not simply because of age, but because they are not spending enough time in restorative sleep. Drinks that supply the body with magnesium, calcium, and calming phytochemicals can increase the likelihood of reaching these deeper sleep stages, giving the body the opportunity to perform the cellular repairs that metabolism depends on. Without them, metabolic damage accumulates, leading to fatigue, immune weakness, and higher risk of chronic illness. Consider the story of an older man in his late 60s who used to reach for plain water at night to avoid dehydration. Despite sleeping for 7 or 8 hours, he would wake up several times and felt exhausted the next day. He had prediabetes and struggled to control his weight. His doctor advised him to try switching his bedtime water to a small cup of warm almond milk with a sprinkle of nutmeg. Within weeks, he reported that he was not waking up as often, his fasting blood sugar was more stable, and his energy in the mornings had improved. This simple nightly change supported his metabolism while also protecting his sleep cycles. For seniors, such small adjustments can mean the difference between ongoing fatigue and a noticeable return of vitality. What makes this connection between sleep and metabolism so important is that it reveals how something as seemingly unrelated as what you drink before bed can ripple across multiple systems of the body. Instead of thinking of hydration as separate from sleep or metabolism, it helps to see them as part of the same integrated process. Seniors who keep reaching for water before bed are unknowingly contributing to their sleep fragmentation, which in turn disrupts metabolic stability. On the other hand, those who make intentional choices, selecting drinks that calm the nervous system, stimulate natural melatonin, and stabilize blood sugar, are setting up their bodies for a night of uninterrupted rest and a day of steady energy, sharper focus, and stronger resilience against chronic disease. When people think about sleep problems, melatonin is often the first word that comes to mind. For seniors in particular, melatonin supplements are heavily marketed as the magic solution for sleepless nights. You can walk into almost any pharmacy and see shelves lined with bottles promising deep sleep or stay asleep longer. The logic seems simple. If melatonin is the hormone the body uses to regulate the sleep-wake cycle, then taking more of it in pill form should restore restful nights. But the reality is more complex. Research shows that while melatonin can sometimes help reset circadian rhythms, especially for people with jet lag or shift work, it is not always effective for age-related insomnia or frequent night wakings. In fact, high doses of synthetic melatonin can actually backfire, confusing the body's natural rhythms and causing grogginess the next morning. The human body functions best when it produces melatonin on its own in the right amounts at the right times, and this is where natural dietary and lifestyle strategies become so powerful for seniors struggling with sleep. As we age, melatonin production naturally declines. The pineal gland in the brain, which is responsible for secreting melatonin, becomes less active, and this is one of the reasons why older adults often experience earlier bedtimes, lighter sleep, and more awakenings during the night. But here's the hopeful part. While the body may produce less melatonin, certain foods and drinks can help stimulate its release or provide natural compounds that mimic its calming effect on the brain. Instead of swallowing a synthetic pill, seniors can use nature's pharmacy to encourage their bodies to produce melatonin more effectively. This approach not only supports better sleep, but also avoids the side effects associated with supplements. Take tart cherries as an example. They are one of the richest natural sources of melatonin, and studies have shown that consuming tart cherry juice can extend total sleep time by more than an hour in older adults. The mechanism is simple but profound. Tart cherries provide melatonin in a form the body can recognize and use, while also delivering antioxidants that reduce inflammation, which itself is linked to sleep disturbances. Imagine a senior who has spent years relying on over-the-counter sleep pills, waking up groggy and dependent on caffeine to function. When they switch to a small glass of tart cherry juice before bed, they may notice within a week that they fall asleep faster and stay asleep longer, all without the unpleasant side effects of synthetic aids. This is an example of how a natural food-based solution can be both safer and more effective. Another powerful option is chamomile tea. Chamomile does not contain melatonin directly, but it is rich in apigenin, a flavonoid that binds to the same receptors in the brain that benzodiazepine sleeping pills target. When apigenin binds to these receptors, it produces a mild sedative effect, helping the body relax and prepare for sleep. The beauty of chamomile is that it doesn't force the brain into an artificial state of drowsiness the way pharmaceutical drugs do. Instead, it gently encourages the brain to slow down its activity and release the body's natural sleep hormones, including melatonin. Seniors who trade their nightly water for a cup of warm chamomile tea often report not just better sleep, but also a calmer mind, reduced anxiety, and even improved digestion. This illustrates the holistic benefits of using natural drinks to support the body's own sleep signals. It's also worth mentioning kiwi fruit, another food that has been shown to boost natural melatonin production. Studies involving older adults found that eating 2 kiwi fruits before bedtime significantly improved both sleep onset and sleep duration. The reason is that kiwis contain serotonin, a neurotransmitter that is converted into melatonin. For seniors who may not want to drink too much fluid before bed, a small serving of kiwi fruit offers a way to nudge the body into producing melatonin internally without the risk of waking up with a full bladder. The effect may not be immediate, but over weeks of consistent practice, the improvement in sleep can be remarkable. The key takeaway is that melatonin works best when it is part of a natural rhythm, not when it is artificially forced. The body has its own circadian clock, influenced by light exposure, diet, and routine. Seniors who sit under bright lights late into the evening or watch television until bedtime may unknowingly suppress their melatonin production, since blue light from screens tells the brain it's still daytime. On the other hand, dimming the lights in the evening, sipping a melatonin-supportive drink, and practicing a calming routine can align the body's internal clock with its external environment. This natural synchronization ensures that melatonin is released in the right amounts at the right time, supporting deeper, more restorative sleep. Consider the case of an elderly woman in her 70s who had been taking melatonin pills for years without much success. She often woke up at 3 a.m. and couldn't fall back asleep. At the advice of her doctor, she decided to replace her nightly water with a small glass of warm milk infused with cinnamon and a spoonful of tart cherry concentrate. Within a week, she noticed that she was not waking up as often, and when she did, she was able to drift back to sleep more quickly. By choosing natural melatonin sources and creating a soothing nightly ritual, she gave her body the tools to reset its natural rhythms. What once felt like a hopeless battle against sleeplessness became a manageable routine that restored her confidence in her ability to sleep. This natural approach also protects seniors from becoming dependent on pharmaceutical sleep aids, which are often prescribed but come with risks of dizziness, confusion, and even increased likelihood of falls. Natural melatonin-supporting drinks and foods avoid these pitfalls while offering additional health benefits such as reduced inflammation, improved digestion, and better heart health. By focusing on stimulating the body's own melatonin production, seniors gain not only better sleep, but also a healthier overall system, reinforcing the principle that the body works best when supported rather than forced. One of the most fascinating discoveries of modern neuroscience is that the brain has its own cleaning system, known as the glymphatic system. For decades, scientists believed the brain lacked such a system because it doesn't have traditional lymphatic vessels like other organs. But research within the last 15 years has revealed something extraordinary. While we sleep, cerebrospinal fluid flows through channels in the brain, washing away waste products that accumulate during waking hours. Among these wastes are beta-amyloid and tau proteins, which in excessive amounts are linked to Alzheimer's disease and other forms of dementia. Deep, uninterrupted sleep is what activates this cleaning crew. When sleep is fragmented, as it often is in seniors waking up to use the bathroom or lying awake at 2 a.m., this glymphatic process is cut short, leaving behind toxic buildup that can gradually impair memory and cognitive function. To appreciate how powerful this system is, imagine your brain as a busy city. During the day, cars, buses, and trucks flood the streets, leaving behind pollution and debris. At night, while the city sleeps, sanitation crews come out to sweep the streets and haul away the garbage. If the cleanup team is interrupted halfway through, trash piles up, traffic slows, and the city begins to break down. The glymphatic system functions in exactly this way for the brain. Without sufficient deep sleep, waste accumulates, neurons struggle to communicate, and memory becomes fuzzy. For seniors whose sleep is already lighter and more fragmented, every interruption caused by a full bladder or restlessness means that less cleaning gets done, which in turn accelerates cognitive decline. The relationship between sleep and brain health becomes even more concerning when you consider the prevalence of Alzheimer's disease and dementia among older adults. Studies consistently show that poor sleep in midlife and later life is associated with a higher risk of developing dementia. The question researchers ask is whether poor sleep is simply a symptom of early brain changes or whether it is a cause that contributes to the buildup of harmful proteins. Increasingly, evidence points to causation. Disrupted sleep prevents the glymphatic system from doing its job, allowing harmful proteins to accumulate. This means that every night of fragmented sleep represents a missed opportunity to protect the brain. Seniors who wake up frequently, especially from drinking water late at night, are at greater risk of having this vital cleaning cycle cut short. The hopeful side of this discovery is that by making small changes, seniors can dramatically improve the efficiency of their brain's nightly cleaning system. Choosing the right drink before bed plays an important role. Instead of drinking plain water, which often leads to nighttime bathroom trips, a calming, sleep-supportive drink allows the body to remain in deep sleep for longer periods. For instance, warm herbal teas like chamomile or lemon balm not only relax the nervous system but also provide mild diuretic-sparing effects, meaning they are less likely to flood the bladder. Similarly, drinks that contain natural melatonin or magnesium enhance deep sleep stages, keeping the brain in the optimal state for glymphatic cleansing. By making this small substitution, seniors extend the time their brain has to detoxify, which pays dividends in sharper memory, improved focus, and reduced risk of age-related cognitive decline. To illustrate this, consider the example of a retired teacher in her early 70s who had always been diligent about drinking water throughout the day. She carried this habit into the night, keeping a large glass on her bedside table and drinking it right before sleep. While she prided herself on staying hydrated, she noticed she woke up 3 to 4 times a night and often felt groggy in the morning. Her doctor explained that her sleep was being fragmented and her brain was not getting enough time for glymphatic clearance. At his suggestion, she replaced her bedtime water with a small cup of tart cherry tea. Within weeks, she noticed she was waking up less, and on the nights she did sleep through, her mornings felt completely different. She described feeling as though a fog had lifted, her memory sharpened, and her mood improved. This simple adjustment allowed her brain the uninterrupted time it needed to cleanse itself overnight. Another critical point is that deep sleep not only cleanses the brain, but also consolidates memories and learning. During the day, the brain collects enormous amounts of information, but it is during sleep that these fragments are organized, stored, and integrated into long-term memory. When sleep is disrupted, this process suffers, leading to forgetfulness and difficulty learning new things. Seniors who consistently wake up throughout the night often find themselves struggling to recall names, misplacing items, or feeling mentally slower. What they may not realize is that their fragmented sleep is starving their brain of the time it needs to process and store memories. By creating an environment and nightly routine that prioritizes uninterrupted sleep, such as replacing bedtime water with a more supportive drink, seniors can give their brains the conditions they need to protect cognitive sharpness and independence. The glymphatic system also has implications beyond memory. Poor clearance of waste products in the brain has been linked to mood disorders like depression and anxiety, which are surprisingly common in older adults. Chronic sleep disruption not only increases the risk of dementia, but also worsens emotional regulation. Seniors who are irritable, anxious, or depressed may not always connect these issues to their sleep habits, but the link is undeniable. Allowing the brain to complete its nightly cleaning cycle supports mental health as well as cognitive health, creating a positive ripple effect that improves quality of life. Something as simple as changing what one drinks before bed becomes a powerful intervention not only for sleep, but also for emotional resilience. In the larger picture, protecting the glymphatic system through uninterrupted sleep represents an investment in long-term brain health. Seniors who continue to wake up multiple times at night risk accelerating age-related decline, while those who create a nightly ritual with calming, nutrient-rich drinks give themselves an edge in preserving memory, focus, and mood. Science is only beginning to unravel the full importance of the glymphatic system, but what we already know makes one fact clear. Sleep is not just about rest. It is about repair and renewal at the deepest cellular level, and every choice that supports longer, deeper sleep, including the simple act of choosing what to drink before bed, becomes an act of protection for the brain itself. Among all the minerals essential for health, magnesium is one of the most overlooked, yet it plays a central role in the quality of sleep. This mineral is often referred to as nature's relaxant because of the profound influence it has on the nervous system, muscles, and stress hormones. Unfortunately, most seniors do not get enough magnesium from their diet, and as a result, they experience problems that directly interfere with their ability to sleep through the night. Symptoms such as restless legs, nighttime cramps, twitching muscles, or even feelings of tension and anxiety are all signs that magnesium levels may be too low. What makes this even more important is that as people age, the body's ability to absorb magnesium decreases, while medications commonly prescribed for blood pressure or heart health can further deplete magnesium stores. When magnesium is lacking, the nervous system becomes more excitable, muscles contract more easily, and cortisol, the stress hormone, remains elevated. All of these factors make it harder for seniors to fall asleep, stay asleep, and sink into the deep stages of rest where true repair and healing occur. Magnesium works by acting as a natural calcium blocker in nerve cells. Calcium excites cells and allows them to fire, while magnesium keeps this activity in check, ensuring that nerves and muscles can relax. Without enough magnesium, the balance tips too far in favor of calcium, leading to overactive nerves and muscle contractions that feel like cramps or spasms. For seniors lying in bed, this imbalance might show up as legs that just won't stay still or a body that feels tense even when they want to relax. This is why many older adults report that restless legs or twitching at night prevent them from falling into deep sleep. The irony is that people may try to drink plain water at bedtime, thinking hydration will help with cramps, but water alone does nothing to restore the magnesium deficit. In contrast, a warm drink made with magnesium-rich ingredients can calm the nervous system and relax the muscles, creating the ideal internal state for sleep. Consider warm milk as an example. Milk contains not only magnesium, but also calcium and tryptophan, a combination that works together to promote sleep. When taken warm, it has a soothing effect that signals the body to wind down. For those who cannot tolerate dairy, almond milk is an excellent alternative. Almonds are naturally rich in magnesium, and when warmed, almond milk becomes a gentle, calming drink that delivers this essential mineral directly to the body in a form it can use. Adding a sprinkle of nutmeg or cinnamon not only enhances the flavor, but also contributes additional calming compounds that amplify the relaxing effect. Seniors who switch their nighttime glass of water for a small cup of warm almond milk often report that their legs feel more relaxed, their mind stops racing, and they are able to fall asleep faster and stay asleep longer. There is also a psychological component to this ritual. The very act of preparing a warm, magnesium-rich drink signals to the brain that it is time to shift gears from alertness to rest. Over time, this becomes a learned association. The body recognizes the ritual and the nervous system begins to calm even before the first sip. This contrasts sharply with the habit of gulping down cold water at bedtime, which not only risks filling the bladder, but also does nothing to cue the brain that sleep is coming. By turning the nightly drink into a therapeutic ritual, seniors create consistency in their routines, and this consistency strengthens circadian rhythms. Stronger rhythms mean melatonin is released more effectively, cortisol levels naturally decline at night, and deep sleep stages are more easily achieved. To bring this to life, imagine an elderly man in his late 60s who has struggled with restless legs for years. His nights were filled with constant movement, waking up every hour and feeling as if his legs had a mind of their own. He tried drinking more water before bed, believing dehydration was the cause, but it only made him wake up more frequently to use the bathroom. A nutritionist suggested that he replace his nighttime water with a small cup of warm almond milk and half a teaspoon of honey. Within 2 weeks, he noticed that his legs were calmer at night, his awakenings were less frequent, and when he did wake up, he could fall back asleep more easily. The magnesium in the almond milk, combined with the soothing warmth and natural sugars in honey, worked together to relax his muscles and stabilize his sleep. What once felt like a battle against his body became a peaceful nightly routine. Beyond muscle relaxation, magnesium also plays a key role in regulating the stress response. Cortisol is the body's primary stress hormone, and when levels remain high into the evening, the body stays in a state of alertness. Magnesium helps reduce cortisol by regulating the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal HPA axis, the system that controls stress responses. Seniors with chronically disrupted sleep often have elevated cortisol at night, which not only prevents relaxation, but also contributes to abdominal weight gain, high blood pressure, and even memory problems. A nightly magnesium-rich drink helps blunt this stress response, giving the nervous system permission to let go and the body the chance to rest. The result is not only better sleep, but also healthier blood pressure, improved metabolism, and enhanced resilience to stress during the day. The importance of magnesium for sleep is also supported by clinical research. Studies show that magnesium supplementation improves sleep quality, especially in older adults who experience insomnia. Participants who increased their magnesium intake fell asleep faster, stayed asleep longer, and reported feeling more refreshed in the morning. While supplements can be useful, obtaining magnesium through food and drinks often has the added benefit of other synergistic nutrients that support overall health. For example, pumpkin seeds, bananas, and leafy greens are rich in magnesium and can be incorporated into evening snacks or drinks to promote relaxation. A banana blended into warm oat milk creates a naturally sweet, magnesium-rich beverage that calms the body and sets the stage for restorative sleep. For seniors who have gone years without a full night of uninterrupted rest, discovering the power of magnesium can be transformative. Instead of viewing their sleeplessness as an unavoidable part of aging, they begin to understand that their body is simply asking for what it needs. By replacing plain water with a warm, magnesium-rich drink, they not only address the root causes of restlessness and tension, but also create a ritual that supports both body and mind. Over time, this nightly practice becomes a cornerstone of better sleep, improved mood, stronger cognitive health, and greater overall vitality. One of the most underestimated factors in improving sleep, especially for seniors, is not just what you drink before bed, but how you create a nightly ritual around that moment. Human beings are creatures of rhythm, and our bodies thrive on consistency. Just as young children respond to bedtime routines, like dimming the lights, reading a story, and tucking into bed, seniors, too, benefit greatly from predictable signals that tell the body and brain it is time to rest. The nervous system learns to anticipate sleep when it experiences the same sequence of calming activities each night. Unfortunately, many older adults approach bedtime with habits that work against sleep, such as watching late-night television, scrolling through a phone, or drinking a full glass of cold water right before lying down. These activities either stimulate the brain, flood the bladder, or send mixed signals to the body. In contrast, establishing a simple ritual with a warm, sleep-supportive drink creates both a physical and psychological pathway into deeper rest and more sustained energy the next day. The act of replacing plain water with a carefully chosen beverage is the first step, but the greater power lies in turning it into a nightly ceremony. Imagine setting aside 10 minutes before bed, dimming the lights, perhaps playing soft instrumental music, and preparing a warm cup of chamomile tea with a drizzle of honey or almond milk with a sprinkle of cinnamon. As the drink steams gently, the aroma begins to soothe the senses, signaling to the body that it is time to wind down. The warmth relaxes the digestive system, the nutrients calm the nervous system, and the mind associates this moment with rest. Over time, the brain begins to connect the smell, taste, and feel of this drink with the transition into sleep. This is not just hydration, it becomes a ritual of restoration, one that can shift the quality of rest from fragmented and shallow to deep and uninterrupted. What makes this ritual so powerful for seniors is that it restores a sense of control over sleep. Many older adults feel powerless in the face of insomnia or frequent awakenings, believing that poor sleep is simply a part of aging. But when they commit to a nightly practice, they reclaim agency. The body responds positively to the consistency, and the improvements compound over time. For instance, a retired woman in her late 60s who had battled years of restless sleep began a new routine. 30 minutes before bed, she would prepare golden milk with turmeric and warm oat milk, sit in her favorite chair, and sip slowly while reflecting on her day. Within 2 weeks, she noticed she was falling asleep faster. After a month, she realized she was sleeping longer without waking to use the bathroom. Most importantly, her mornings transformed. She described feeling lighter, calmer, and more energetic throughout the day. This ritual was not just a change in her diet. It was a change in the rhythm of her life. The benefits of such rituals extend into the following day because uninterrupted sleep is directly tied to how much energy the body has. Seniors who adopt a calming nightly drink routine often report that they no longer feel the mid-morning slump or the overwhelming urge to nap in the afternoon. Their energy feels steadier, their mood brighter, and their ability to focus sharper. This is because consistent deep sleep restores mitochondrial function in cells, improves insulin sensitivity, and reduces inflammation, all processes that contribute to sustainable daytime vitality. Without these, even a seemingly full night of light, fragmented sleep leaves the body drained and foggy. By anchoring sleep with a nightly ritual, seniors not only reclaim their nights, but also their days. It is also important to consider the emotional and psychological benefits of ritual. Many older adults live with stress, loneliness, or anxiety, all of which can disrupt sleep. A nightly drink ritual provides a moment of grounding, a gentle pause that helps shift the nervous system from the stress-driven sympathetic state into the relaxation-driven parasympathetic state. For example, an elderly widower who struggled with both grief and sleepless nights found comfort in creating a ritual of making lavender-infused tea before bed. The soothing aroma and warmth of the tea became more than a sleep aid. It was a moment of peace and reflection. Over time, this small act eased his loneliness, reduced his anxiety, and allowed him to sleep through the night more consistently. The emotional weight he carried felt lighter, and he began each day with renewed strength to face his challenges. This demonstrates how rituals affect not only physiology, but also the heart and spirit. From a scientific standpoint, consistency in sleep habits strengthens circadian rhythms, the body's internal clock that governs when we feel awake and when we feel sleepy. Seniors often experience weakened circadian rhythms due to aging, irregular schedules, or lack of exposure to natural light. A nightly ritual tied to a specific drink helps reinforce these rhythms, acting as a cue for the body to release melatonin and suppress cortisol. Over time, this alignment reduces the unpredictability of sleep, making nights more restorative and mornings more energized. The ritual becomes a gentle anchor that steadies the body's natural cycles, counteracting the disruptions that so often plague older adults. To see the long-term impact, picture a 75-year-old man who had been dozing off in front of the television at odd hours and then tossing and turning when he finally went to bed. His days felt sluggish, and he lacked motivation to stay active. At the suggestion of his physician, he began replacing his late-night water and screen time with a deliberate ritual: a warm cup of chamomile tea, 10 minutes of quiet journaling, and lights out at the same time each night. Within weeks, his sleep became more consistent, his mornings more energized, and his motivation to exercise returned. What began as a simple switch in his nighttime drink grew into a life-changing habit that restored his vitality and confidence. A nightly ritual built around a warm, calming, nutrient-rich drink represents much more than just a replacement for plain water. It becomes a cornerstone habit that nourishes the body, calms the mind, and reinforces natural sleep signals. For seniors who have struggled with fatigue, brain fog, and restless nights, this ritual offers a pathway not only to better sleep, but to lasting energy, emotional balance, and a renewed sense of well-being that extends into every part of their lives.